Every year, each company is competing to get your hard-earned dollars. By introducing a new product and features that you need, they can get you to purchase a phone or a computer that you probably don't have to buy. So here's why you should only ever buy last year's tech. New products being released is not an inherently bad thing, but what is a bad thing is when people feel the need to purchase the latest and greatest, even when their phone or their computer or their device is more than enough for what they need. The features are never that new or important and make your life any better. The rate at which technology is released is astounding. A new product is released every single year, and sometimes 2 or even 3 products are released in that same year, all to earn your hard-earned dollars, each with a new gimmick or a new feature that they promise will make your life better. Sitting here, you can see my busted up iPhone SE. I'm very proud of this thing. I've showed it off in a lot of videos because I'm happy that I'm using a phone that does everything I need it to do. The newer phones have newer features, better features, and more of them. That's the point of new technology. It's to make it seem like you need this new thing because this new feature is better than what you currently have. And I'm here to tell you that that is almost never true. The products that are released year over year never change in functionality. Whether it's a phone or a computer, the phone makes phone calls and sends text messages, and a computer does the exact same thing. So why are we entitled to always buying the latest and the greatest when last year's is good enough? The basic functionality of a phone over the last 10, 15 years has not changed at all. It's gone from basically a way to communicate with people to a way to consume content and communicate with people. But that's it. You don't really do anything else on your phone. Whether you have Face ID or thumbprint ID, you still get into your phone and do the same things. Whether it's watch YouTube, use Snapchat, message, whatever it is, you still use those same basic apps. And what I'm here to say is that there's no real reason to upgrade so long as your phone is still performing and able to use those apps. Apple, Samsung, Google, all of these companies are very clever. They know that if they add in new features and then make you feel like if you don't have those new features, you're not as good or you're really missing out, they're creating false need or false wants. Basically, they're sort of tricking you into thinking that what you have isn't good enough and you need this new feature. You didn't know you needed this new feature, but now that you know this new feature is available, you definitely need it. So basically make sure that when you are purchasing a new phone or new tablet, that the features you're buying it for is actually something you'll use and not like, oh, I can make a chicken face talk. Like, that's not a feature, that's just something kind of cool and not necessary to the functionality of the phone. Next, and I think this one is probably the most important, is to learn to be happy with what you have. One of the biggest problems plaguing the world today is that people want a little bit too much. Whether they want a new phone, a new computer, a new wife, people constantly need more. And if you can learn to control that, you'll be able to live a much happier life. In 2020, 2019, 2018, the last 5 years, 10 years probably, humans, consumers, everybody feels like they need more. Feels like they need a new phone, a more powerful computer, a better camera, a better this, a better that. And a lot of the time, they feel that they need these things to fill a hole inside of them that isn't necessarily going to be filled by purchasing a new product. By buying new stuff, you're not making yourself happy. It shouldn't be something fun that you do. Buying a new thing should kind of be something that you have to do sometimes. For example, my phone, it's busted up and it works still. Most people tell me that I need to get a new phone, but I know that I don't really need a new phone, so I don't buy one because I don't need it. My phone works perfectly fine, and I'm continuing to use it. So learning to be happy with the items that you have. You're always going to try to be convinced to get the newest item. But if you have an iPhone 8 Plus, or an iPhone 8, an iPhone 7, an iPhone 6, whichever phone you have, you need to look at that phone and think to yourself, if I buy the new phone, will it make my life better? And 10 times out of 10, the answer is probably no. 10 times out of 10, the answer is probably no. That's a direct contradiction. But more or less, when you look at the new phones and the new features, they're there to sell you on it. And learning to be happy with what you have is a valuable skill. Not only will it save you money, but it'll also make you a lot happier. You're not always chasing something. You're not always chasing what's next, the newest thing, the best thing. Whatever it is, you're not chasing it anymore because you have what you need. And you decided that I don't need the latest, I don't need the greatest, because what I have is good enough, and I'm actually happy with what I have. And it's not bad. These phones, a 2-year-old phone is still amazing. Think about what a phone is. You could do anything, access any information from a tiny little glass screen. And you could even get a little cat. That's how we found our cat at PetSmart. So when you are looking to buy a new item, make sure that what you have to replace is actually in need of replacement. For example, this cat, he's a little bit annoying sometimes, but he's a cutie. And if I buy a new one, am I gonna have to replace him? And I don't wanna have to replace him because he's one of my best buds. This is a perfect example of not needing to upgrade. Next is that the performance improvements are typically minimal, 10 to 20%. And when you think about that in the grand scheme of things, it's not really gonna benefit you. Performance improvements are great, but if the phone or the computer or the tablet or the item that you have fills your need well enough now, is there any real reason to upgrade? I find that people are always trying to buy something that they think they need to try and fill a void. If you look at the most recent MacBook Pro, the improvements are there. The internal improvements on the 16-inch MacBook Pro are there. Those exist. But are you somebody that's going to take advantage of those improvements? Do you need an 8-core processor, a powerful graphics card, 64 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabytes of storage? Do you need those things? Or is it something that sounds cool and you'll get your laptop and you're literally going to watch YouTube on it the whole time and the CPU will never be utilized more than 6%? So make sure that when you look at these improvements in performance and more cores, better cores, faster cores, stronger cores, I'm gonna get copyright strike for that it's actually something that you'll benefit from. If you're somebody who needs to have a powerful CPU because you video edit 4K video, will the improvement in that CPU actually make your life better, or will it literally save you 3 minutes in the export time? And is that something that's worth it? Can you still edit the video with what you have? Can you still take the photos with the camera you have? Can you still do all the things you need to do with the item that you have? Because the performance improvements, okay, maybe that camera can record at a higher bit rate, or the CPU inside of that iPhone is more powerful. But these improvements are only there because they have to be. If you buy a new iPhone, it has to be more powerful than the last one because that's how it is. But on an iPhone, can you even utilize 10% of the CPU's horsepower other than in an extreme case? Make sure that the performance improvements is something you actually need. Finally, and this is the most obvious, it'll save you a ton of money. Not always buying the latest and the greatest is a very, very quick way to not spend too much money. In this world, everybody is buying everything on credit. Nobody owns anything that they have. But if you are one of the non-normal people who buy a used car with cash, who put down 60% on a 15-year mortgage for your house, if you're somebody who uses an iPhone SE with a broken screen even if you could afford a new one, if you use an older MacBook Pro, if you use an older camera, you use an older this, and you just make these things work because you know financially it's going to benefit you in the future. A lot of people are willing to spend a lot of money on an idea, but maybe spend the least amount of money and make sure that's something you want to do. I get a lot of comments on people saying, oh, I'm starting a YouTube channel, I want to buy one of these laptops. These are $800 laptops. Maybe buy a super cheap laptop or use an iPad or use something that you already own and see if you actually like making the videos instead of investing a ton of money into something that you probably won't use or something that you actually won't be able to take advantage of. So just make sure you don't buy more than what you need. You don't need a 4K camera. You don't need an 8K camera. You don't need a 120 hertz display. All these things are just nice to haves. But if you break down the features for what they are, the phones still work the same. They still send messages, receive calls, and you can still watch YouTube on it. And that's it. Make sure that it's something you actually need and it's something that actually adds value to your life. Thank you for watching. I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.